Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining. So I'm here to tell you how I started my design business at just zero budget. So if you're new, please don't forget to click on that subscribe button and the notification bell, guys, because I love it when you get notifications about any new videos that I share. So please make sure you do that. Alright, so this is how I started my business. So I started my business when I was still studying and without having any income and all that. So some people think that starting a business or starting a company would require you to actually get funding and all that. So that is not always the case, guys. So there are actually other ways you can just start without having like some kind of capital. Alright, so this is how I started. So obviously my company is a design business, so I did like websites, logos, banners. I'm still doing those things at this point, posters and all that. So you wonder, obviously with a business you would firstly need to register it, right? So you can't actually offer a service or even have a business bank account without actually having a registered company. So this is what I did. I had to check, okay, I'm a student, fine, I get allowance from my parents and all that. So how do I actually run a business or fund my business? So I had to think about things that would work better at the time. So at the time I thought, okay, the most important thing for me is to register my company. So I registered my company with CPRO. So I registered it online. So it costed me like around $450 in total. So for me to reserve the name, for me to approve to get all the documents and all of those things. So that's how I was able to create it. So obviously that $450 had to come out of my allowance. And mind you guys, when I was still in high school, my parents used to send me just 500 rand. So you can imagine, how do you get to go around paying 350 rent and remaining with the other 350 to actually, the remaining 250 to do whatever you want to do, like food and. So, but because your girl was smart in a way that she had to actually make a plan. So I sold Avon products on the side, and of course with the hustle of designing or starting my business, like designing posters for people. And also because I was still in school, some students are very lazy, guys. I was actually doing their work, and the sad thing is that you can get someone to do your work, but come exam time it's you and you alone. But hey, because I was getting the the money, I couldn't refuse because it was actually helping me. So that's why I actually saw another opportunity that, hey, I can actually start my business. So that's how I managed to do that. So that 450 came out of all of those small hustles, selling Avon products, getting small projects to actually design maybe a system for someone, or a logo, all of those things. So that's how I was able to get that 450. All right, so that was the most important thing. So the next important thing that I had to do was to have a logo for my business, which at the time the idea was already there. I remember when I came up with the concept of the logo for my company, I was home. It was school holidays at the time, and I was home just sitting by the dining room, just by the mat, and I saw myself drawing and thinking about the design and all that. And that was quite cool because, hey, look at me now. I now own a design agency that works with a lot of people and it's successful. And then it was just a dream, but now it's possible. Remember, it started with just 0 cent. All right, so yeah, so the most important thing is the logo. So obviously I came up with the logo for my business, and then after that I had to now have social media platforms, which is what? Zero. It cost you 0 cent. I didn't need to spend anything. Remember that at school I had we had computer labs and all that, so I took advantage of the free equipments that were there, and used free internet that we were offered at school, because hey, I was benefiting from it, so why not use it? You can, we used to stand in queues to go to the computer lab, and then you can only be there for like an hour or so, and then after an hour it kicks you out. So if I needed internet, that's where I used to go. Of course, at the time I couldn't afford to have my own internet, like in my room, in the where I used to stay and all that. But yeah, it doesn't matter. It was, I actually had or made something, or found a way to actually make it work, and that's how I did it. Even with the design software that I used to use, guys, I mean, I studied web and development. I worked with Photoshop, I worked with your Dreamweavers, I worked with your Flash at the time. Who uses Flash now? But yeah, so a lot of Adobe Suite, a lot of programs, design programs that are out there. So I mean, like, your girl had to make it work. So I had to push my business and use those resources at the time, because remember, I didn't have the ching, so you start somewhere in the business, and that's how my business kickstarted, and I was able to do work for other people. So then obviously, as time progressed, I realized, no, I really need to position my brand and put it out there, like have a website, have an online presence, and so this is what I had to do. I had to make sure, guys, that I have a website. So obviously now with a website, it becomes a bit tricky, because not tricky, but obviously I'm able to design the website. So that was like cling, zero. I didn't need to spend anything for that. Even the logo, it was zero. I didn't need to spend, because I had the skill. I was able to do all of that. So obviously you have to pay for like hosting and all that, because I don't have a way to actually register a domain without paying and all that. So I had to register a domain and obviously create my website, which required me to pay about 35 bucks every month. So yeah, that's roughly that. But because obviously the business was picking up, I was able to do small projects, and also I was a tutor, Visual Basics programming tutor. I think, yeah, I used to do classes every Wednesday, and I would get around 750. Yeah. Believe it or not, I used to actually have that as, I think that was my very first, salary, if you can call it. Yeah, 750. So that's how it started. So I was able to somehow use it on other things. So my point, guys, is that sometimes you don't really need to have capital to start a business, because I remember I'm an entrepreneur, and I have an online platform called Entrepreneur Puzzle, which we profile entrepreneurs. We talk about everything entrepreneurship, and about a lot of topics that can actually help you or drive you to the direction of being an entrepreneur, or understanding much about entrepreneurship in a broader space. So in a broader way, yeah. So what I noticed is that a lot of people, especially those that want to start businesses, they want funding. They are focused on getting funding. And my biggest challenge about you wanting funding and all that is that sometimes you don't actually look at other options that are there. Other options that are there that can actually help you to grow your business without having to actually have money. Without actually having to have money at all in the business. So sometimes you don't really need to get funding. And remember, guys, some funding, it's an investment, yes, but you should remember that it's not money that you're just going to get and then voila, you work and life goes on. At some point you will have to pay it back. Not that I'm not trusting your business or your idea or something like that. Excuse me, guys. Okay, not that I don't trust your business or your idea and all of that, but what I mean is as much as you are a beginner, or you feel like you need a bit of funding in your business, I want you to also think about the fact that when your business starts, you know, working and then it's operating, everything is going well, you need to remember that the money that you've borrowed or that you got funded for, at some point you need to take it back or something like that. So think about those things. So instead of opting for just wanting funding and all that and not start dragging your feet actually to start, just start and see how it could help you. You know, if you are able to use social media platforms, I know maybe some businesses are not really great in terms of okay, obviously depending on the nature of your business, you might feel like you need a bit of funding, but if you are able to start small, I would say go for it. Because remember, you can't start big. The next thing, I mean, when you start big, yes, you can have vision and the vision of the mission and the vision of your business. You can have the whole idea of how the business is gonna run in your head. It's possible. That's how it can be. That's how it is usually. You know, you have everything in mind set. You know, you have everything. You already have the ideas of how much money you're gonna make for the entire year, who your target people are gonna be and all that. But truth of the matter is, the fact that you haven't started, it's easy for you to see the end product, which is nothing wrong with you seeing the bigger picture. But also be careful in terms of, you know, looking just what's in the mind without putting it into practice. So the more you put something into practice, the better the chances of you realizing the, you know, the growth or the direction of how your business is to run or how it should go. I mean, I personally feel like it was great for me to actually start my business when I was still in school and all that, because trust me guys, it really helped me. It really helped me, and I was also able to see what people want, what clients want, and everything. And obviously at the time there was a point where I was a bit skeptical of working with big brands or big you know, big dogs of business and all that. I feel like, yo, how will they feel about my work and all that, you know. So I started bit by bit, and then I started growing. My confidence also grew in the business, and I realized that, hey, I can actually do this, and I'm able to actually do. So guys, the best way to start is to start with what you have and not having to actually, you know, get funding, because you can start there and, you know, grow it. And another point that I want to make is that, you know, sometimes you have this big idea in your mind, the great idea of the vision of your business and all that. I'm not saying that your business doesn't have potential, but if you're gonna start big and, you know, invest big money into your business or get big funding that would require you to pay and all of that, I think start small. Because when you start small, you are able to actually see how the business is going, things that you can work on, things that you can change while it's still small. So imagine just going big. There's nothing wrong with having confidence in yourself and knowing that, hey, you've got this. But you know what? The way things are, a lot of things change every day. There are things that might actually, you know, backfire somewhere along the way, or things going wrong, you know. So it's best if you somehow start small so that you can be able to actually get to the level of, you know, growing it the way you want to. And remember that as much as, you know, you can study business, you can have all the skills possible, there's always something to learn in business. There's always something new. The market changes each and every time. You always have to adapt to a lot of things. So in my opinion, try to do that. That would be my advice to you. But with that said, guys, I hope that this video was actually informative to you. Of course, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, and please make sure that you comment and tell me what you think. Did you start your company at zero budget, and how did that go for you? Did you start your business with funding? How did that go for you? And, you know, what were the pros and cons of maybe getting funding for your business, and maybe what was the pros and cons of starting your business at zero rent and all that. So yeah, maybe my opinion might not be your opinion, so do share and tell us. We would like to know, maybe there's someone who can actually learn something from you as well. So yeah, with that said, guys, please don't forget to click on that subscribe button and the notification bell, guys, so that you don't miss my next video. So thank you and bye for now. Until the next video. Bye, guys.